All right, I think we're going to get going here. So everybody, thank you very much for joining today. Purpose of today is to give an intro to the Threekit visualization platform, along with Salesforce, specifically Salesforce CPQ. So as we go through the content, you can go ahead and ask questions through the chat function. And what we'll do before we jump in is we'll start off with a round of intros and then get into it. So my name is John Wright. I'm an account executive here with Threekit based in the Bay Area. I have been working in the configuration space for a little over 5 years. So before Threekit, I was with Salesforce CPQ and Steelbrick. And actually before that time, I was with Salesforce. So I've actually been working in the Salesforce ecosystem and with the platform now for about 10 years. I'm joined also by my colleague Tony on the Threekit side. So Tony, if you want to say hi.
Great, thank you, John. Hello, everyone. Tony Lopez. I work with John side by side at Threekit on the solution engineering side of the house. Also similar to John, spent about 3 years at Salesforce CPQ prior to joining Threekit, and another 3 years prior to that with Oracle CPQ. So been doing CPQ for about 7 or 8 years, and we are also joined by one of our partners over at Simplus, Mr. Dylan Ferguson, who I'll let introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Dylan Ferguson with Simplus. I'm the Director of Sales for the Western United States. I've got probably a 15-year career in Salesforce experience. I've worked for Salesforce, and I also work on the implementation side. And so today we're going to talk a little about our specific focus in the CPQ world and how that's relevant to how you purchase and buy products for the future. Thanks, Tony. So as we all know, in the age of COVID, we've seen e-commerce growth, online sales grow more in the last 8 weeks than in the last 10 years. What's exciting about that is that it's really conditioning the marketplace to be more comfortable purchasing online. As a result, the way we shop and the expectations we have in online expectations are going to grow and increase. Next slide. 83% of buyers say that the product visuals are a huge impact in terms of how they buy, which means candidly, the better you can showcase your product, the better visuals you can create, the easier it is to understand what it costs based off of the product variants that you have, the easier it's going to be for you to make that sell in a self-service methodology. Next slide. So really what we're presenting to you guys today is a model to create a 3D visualization of your product, as well as a commercial component where as you're making selections, it's calculating the underlying pricing as you're selecting through the options for that product. So for example, if I'm buying a shirt, I'm not just buying a shirt, I'm going to buy a color, I'm going to buy a size, and I'm also going to be thinking about which version of that shirt I'm going to buy. So understanding and being able to click through those options is going to allow me to make creative choices based off of a 3D visual that's also going to give me a price variance based off of the things I'm selecting. So what's exciting about that is what sits underneath the Threekit 3D visualization tool is a Salesforce CPQ, Configure Quote Price. Simplus, the company I work for, is a Salesforce partnership. We've done more CPQ implementations than any partner globally, with over 700 successful CPQ projects delivered to market. And in doing so, we've also been able to achieve some pretty wonderful accolades in the marketplace. For those of you familiar with the Salesforce App Exchange, Simplus is #1 in customer satisfaction out of the 1,800 or so partnerships that are currently listed there. We've also had more 5-star reviews than any other partnership on the Salesforce App Exchange with over 225 5-star reviews. In our experience, we've also stepped in with people who already have CPQ. They tried to do it themselves or worked with a partner with a little less experience. We've been pulled in to do some CPQ rescues where we were able to help them get back on track. As a team, we've got over 1,400 CPQ certifications and over 400 resources we could dedicate to project work. The unique thing about Simplus is we've partnered with the people at Threekit in various other enterprises as well. So we've got deep roots, deep relationships with them to help ensure that the work we're delivering out to our clients is going to meet and exceed their expectations. Some of the clients that we've done work for is the largest global rollout of Salesforce CPQ in their history with Google, over 10,000 users. And we've also been able to achieve winning at last Dreamforce, the Partner Innovation Award which is the largest category. When you think about this as the Academy Awards, this would be the equivalent of Best Picture for Salesforce. They had the most submissions, and it was the most difficult one to win. And we won that for a visualization CPQ project that we did in the marketplace, specifically in manufacturing. So we know what we're doing in that space, and we would love to make our expertise available. Next slide, please. Our customers that are using 3D visualizations are seeing some unique benefits to those that aren't. First and foremost, they're able to better provide their customers more accurate product information. One of the things that CPQ allows you to do is things like bundling. So if there's products that have to be purchased together, they can do if then. So if you select something, it's going to automatically add the other component to ensure that they don't get a product with a certain expectation and find out they're missing something critical to the use. Something else that's been valuable is that they've provided unique opportunities for self-service, because they're able to really click through and understand, what are my product options? Do I want this in black? Do I want it in white? Does it come with an accessories group? What do the accessories look like on the product? So they can answer a lot of their own questions without having to go to a person on the phone or to some sort of case management process. And lastly, they're seeing an improved purchasing experience with their customers and partners, because when people can self-solve and people can easily go through what I would like to call a no-think process to buy, that gives them an intrinsic enthusiasm. And oftentimes, if they can't even remember where they bought something, that's the best, I think, example of that your process is locked in, because they were able to just get the thing that they wanted and you were able to deliver that experience. So the 3D visualization takes a lot of the guesswork out of whether they're making a good buying decision, whether they have any buying remorse or anxiety. That said, I'll hand it back to the team at Threekit.
Great, thanks, Dylan. So yes, I mean, and this is really where Threekit comes in to enhance that buying experience through our 3D visualization, configuration, augmented reality, and photorealistic 2D rendering. So quick background on us as an organization. Technology started being developed in 2005 by Ben Houston, our founder and CTO today. And when he started this, he actually was at first focused on film. So if you've seen any of the Marvel movies or Harry Potter or Game of Thrones, you've actually seen Threekit technology and just didn't even realize it. But when he was building this, he did it with a couple of different principles in mind. Number one is it had to look really good for obvious reasons. Number two is this had to be a scalable platform. And number three, this platform had to be collaborative, because there were people in different locations that were all working on these same assets. So we did that for a number of years. And then it was in 2016 that Ben was approached by companies like Crate & Barrel and Herman Miller, really companies that had large product catalogs with many different product permutations, and it was just cost prohibitive for them to manufacture and photograph all those permutations for their website. So they said, hey, Ben, can you please do this for us digitally? And he said yes, and it was at that point that we really shifted our focus into starting to solve business problems. And then it was in 2018 that Threekit really started to take off when we started to raise funding. So initial seed round came actually from Godard Abel. So Godard was the CEO of Big Machine CPQ, which was acquired by Oracle, and also the CEO of Steelbrick, which we all know and love today as Salesforce CPQ. So it was really then that the organization started to grow. And then it was last year that Threekit raised a Series A led by Shasta Ventures and Salesforce Ventures. So today, as an organization, we have about 85 employees, and many of us came from one or both of those CPQ companies. So what we're doing now is we're really taking Ben's amazing and beautiful visual technology and marrying it with the business know-how and understanding and appreciation for CPQ to really deliver kind of a best of both worlds solution. Now, as this relates to Salesforce and specifically CPQ, is that we are able to now bring this visual enhanced experience into CPQ, but not just for an internal sales rep. So obviously the internal sales reps can now build out those products, select those different options, and see what they're building by leveraging our App Exchange integration package. But as Dylan had touched on, this can really be leveraged in different areas across the platform. So for example, like Dylan had mentioned, that channel partner or that reseller, the people that may not be the absolute product expert and may have difficulty understanding what they are quoting by just looking at text line items. Now by them able to see it, they're able to actually show the end user or show the end buyer what that product is that they're building a quote for. They can even take it to the next step take it further using augmented reality. So now we're not just seeing it on the quote, but also we're taking that configured asset and placing it into our space, putting it on our showroom floor, on the manufacturing room floor, into the surgery room to see if that product is going to actually fit from a space perspective, but also from a style perspective. So by having all these different assets now on the platform or available to the platform, we're able to extend it and leverage it across other areas. So putting it into B2B commerce to help with customer self-serve, ordering replacement parts or spare parts. Tie it into B2C commerce to help enhance a true e-commerce sort of transaction, or even put it into Service Cloud, where now a service agent is able to see and understand what that product is that the customer does own, and really provide an amazing customer experience there. So really many different uses and applications for Threekit across the Salesforce platform. So I'm going to stop talking about what Threekit can do, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleague to actually bring you through a demo. So hit it, Tony.
Great. Thank you very much, John. So with that being said, let's walk through a couple very quick use cases, again, inside of Salesforce CPQ, but we're going to focus on the Threekit side of the house. First off, though, I did want to call out a couple of things here on this account. We'll, of course, notice that I do not have any contracts, subscriptions, or assets, but I do have a shell of an opportunity and a quote. So let's go ahead and jump right into the quote editor. With the Threekit package, we, of course, are integrated directly into Salesforce and Salesforce CPQ. So using all of the native functionality that you would come to expect when you're in Salesforce, things like native product search, if you wanted to connect these products to guided selling, we of course could. But in this case, I'll go ahead and grab this point of sale system. And what that's going to do is actually launch Threekit inside of the embedded CPQ external configurator. So I don't have to actually go anywhere else. I don't have to open up any additional applications. I don't have to open up any additional windows. Instead, it's going to just overlay Threekit with that embedded visualization directly inside of Salesforce CPQ. You'll also notice kind of behind the scenes here, I have the standard Salesforce CPQ bundle configuration, but really what CPQ is waiting for is for the Threekit configuration to actually go and choose all of those options and now dynamically build my bundle. So things to show here, a very straightforward configuration of this point of sale system. I've got things like, for example, my system color. I also have different credit card options. And very simply, that's just going to add this credit card reader here and attach it to the tablet itself. But when it comes to visualization, even something as simple as that becomes very important to the buyer, because now I know that credit card reader is being attached to the tablet. And it's not, for example, something that is connected to the base or the pedestal like this column printer versus even something that could potentially be standalone like this standalone printer. And we need to know exactly what that physical product is going to be when I actually submit this and fulfill the order. And lastly, when it comes to things like configuration, maybe I want to see what this would look like just as a standard counter mount that doesn't actually have a pedestal, and you'll notice that also now restricts my ability to further configure, because of course, in order to have that hub down there, I need the stability plate, which it itself attaches to. And we've got a couple of different color options here, so we'll just toggle that back and forth. And when it comes to the 3D visualization, of course, also allowing the user to interact with it, see it from all different angles, zoom in, zoom out, and know exactly what they're getting. So as I mentioned before, when it comes to Salesforce CPQ, what we'll do is now dynamically build out that bundle. So all of my additional components, my hub, my column printer, those are going to get added dynamically to the bundle without having to define that bundle structure from a CPQ standpoint. It means that I can be much more scalable as new products are released month by month or year by year. Again, those products will be updated from a configuration standpoint and dynamically added to all of my CPQ bundles. So I no longer have to go redefine my features and options in CPQ. Again, I won't spend time talking about CPQ, but once we've got all of the line items back inside of the quote editor, of course, all of your commercials, discounting through partners or distribution, enforcing all of your partner pricing, tiered pricing, things of that sort, will all be handled via CPQ. What we wanted to show here is also the fact that everything is being dynamically configured and dynamically saved. So Threekit is going to capture that entire configuration, the colors, all the add-ons, all the options. So if the user needs to go reconfigure, they absolutely could. If I need to share this with internal, external colleagues, I can share that full configuration. We actually have an example of that here with just this embedded QR code. So what this is going to allow me to do is jump directly from desktop to mobile for a mobile AR experience. So I'll come back to this in a moment here, and while I'm showing this recording, you can go ahead and pull out your phones and scan that QR code. I'll play this quick recording here of exactly what's going to happen. And again, it's a full configured experience. So in this case, I had chosen the standalone printer, and that QR code is going to take us to a little microsite with that configuration that I can now share and see exactly what was configured. But then there's also that view in your space button, so I can launch this directly into augmented reality. So let's just toggle back over here. I'll pause here for a second. If anyone pulled out their phone, feel free to scan that. But just moving forward here, we'll go ahead and save down the quote. Same thing is certainly available if I wanted to include that QR code inside of the document itself. So again, the users can go from desktop to mobile seamlessly. Additionally, if we wanted to just include that in a link, let's say, for example, I send that document to a customer and they're looking at it on their mobile device, which is of course already AR ready, they can just go ahead and click the link. But we'll bypass the document and fast forward a little bit. We'll pretend that the customer has received the document, they've signed it, and we now need to close out this order. And what's going to happen here now, again, we've just kind of returned to standard Salesforce CPQ. But when we close out that opportunity, we also want to use the Salesforce contracted capabilities. And as I had mentioned earlier, when we started off on the account, I did not have any contracts. I did not have any subscriptions or assets. So let's jump back over here to the account. We can see I now have all of those populated. Primarily what we want to call out though are also those assets that were created. So in this case, I've got some software that created the contract, and that's the recurring component added to the visualization and full configuration. But when it comes to the point of sale system itself, we want to take a look at that asset. And now we have that full customer 360 with full install base, so the customer can actually see internally as well as the customer, if we were to expose this in, for example, a Salesforce community, 100% exactly what was configured. So I know that I purchased this point of sale system with, for example, the in-column printer with the connectivity hub down here. And you'll notice that as I make those selections, we're also highlighting that particular product because Threekit recognizes that those are their own unique elements, their own unique products that need to get recorded inside of the assets. So if a customer needed to order spare parts down the line, again, either via a customer support case in Field Service Lightning or via self-service inside of a customer community, the customer can absolutely do that. And with that being said, I will just very quickly show the same thing here in the customer community. I've got this same quote here. We'll just dive right into it. So whether this is being done through partner quoting, again, here's that same quote, here's that same reconfiguration. So whether you're internal, whether you're external, or even customer self-service, all the visualization is extensible across the Salesforce platform. And again, here we are again looking at that same configuration, rezoomed with exactly the same configuration that was left off. So now we can start from customer self-service or B2B, pass that into an internal quote and allow those internal reps or partner resellers to pick up exactly where the customer left off and finish the sale. So that being said, we've got about 5 minutes left. Happy to answer any questions at this point.
The question that I just got in aligns to what I would add. So is this something that can be maintained by the business? So I would say yes, as long as the business would like to maintain it, right? Similar to Salesforce CPQ, that kind of took the big burden away from being able to roll out configure price quote to customers. Threekit has taken the same approach as the platform has been developed. So we would like this to be something and it is something that the customer can own, add new products on their own, maintain it over time. Of course, Threekit, we do have a full team to help support the maintenance and any changes that do need to be made to an implementation with training and documentation in the customer success organization. But yes, this is something that a customer or business can own and maintain. Okay, I have another question here. How will the models be added to the system, and what formats of models can be added? So Tony, I'll let you take that one.
Absolutely. So from the 3D asset management and creation of those, Threekit works with any of the existing 3D editing suites, 3D editing software that's out there today, a broad list of compatibility from a 3D file standpoint and also image standpoint when it comes to adding those materials and textures that actually go onto the 3D files themselves. But once inside of the Threekit platform, as John was mentioning, it is a full cloud platform. It's 100% web-based. So you can go directly to Threekit to import those 3D models. You can create 3D models on the Threekit platform. And for the folks that have much more scale where new components, new pieces of 3D are being added very regularly, there of course can be integration set up to receive that directly from external sources via API, via batch, your standard integration methods. One other question, one final question. Threekit, how is it priced? Configurations by products. John, maybe I'll pass that one back to you this time.
Yeah, so there's a couple different things that determine how Threekit is priced. So, just like Salesforce, we do have different editions. Each edition has its own level of functionality and set of features that come with it. But really what goes into it are the three main things are the experiences. So experiences being 3D, augmented reality, and photorealistic 2D renders. So there's 3 total experiences. So number of experiences desired. Yes, number of products that are actually being configured. And then in the case of like a CPQ integration, number of integrated CPQ users comes into play. And in the case of like a B2C commerce, number of views or times that the configurator is loaded on site, that has an impact on pricing as well. All right, well, very good. Well, everybody, thank you very much for joining today. We really do appreciate you taking the time. If you have any additional questions, there will be some follow-up emails that are sent out coming from this session, so feel free to reach out with any questions. Happy to help any way that we can. And again, very much appreciate the time and have a great rest of your day.